Welcome to another edition of Top Steps SuiteProjects Pro Power Up Series. I'm Ronn Breaux. Our topic for this Power Up series is looking at the power of connecting SuiteProjects Pro and NetSuite and them working together seamlessly. The benefit of these two best-in-breed products coming together and connecting in a seamless manner gives both organizations, finance and professional service, the tools they need to efficiently do their work, but work together. You can manage how data flows between the two products and determine where the master data and how does it flow and be able to serve both organizations. Data is kept in sync. There's not a client name in one that doesn't match a client in the other. You've got users and clients and projects all synced, transactional data synced, all with either scheduled or real-time options. So let's take a look. So when you provision SuiteProjects Pro and you are either an existing NetSuite customer or considering adding NetSuite, provisioning of the product will typically have the NetSuite Connector as an option. If you don't see the NetSuite Connector, you can always ask support to enable it in your account should you need it. If I click on the NetSuite Connector, it's going to bring me to my different setup. All of the magic, a lot of the magic that is set between the two products is defined inside of SuiteProjects Pro. In this demo account, I have a connector to another demo account, which we'll take a look at. So basically what's happening is SuiteProjects Pro is using credentials to log in to NetSuite and then pushing and pulling data based on how we design our flows to run. Before I get to the data mappings, let's go through a couple of these other important tabs. The automate process. This allows you to set batch runs on a schedule to your liking. You can group chapters together. So you want clients and projects to be synced together, or you can have everything synced on a schedule. Generally, what we see is one of two options. Either everything is synced overnight, or we set these on an hourly basis, and these are run on an hourly basis. When they are run, they will add a log to an email and send that email to whoever's identified so you can get an idea of what data was processed. And if there are any errors, you can also see what errors were processed. There are real-time options. So in this example, as soon as an invoice is approved, it will migrate into NetSuite. It doesn't require any delay or any running of the integration. Same for expense reports, same for projects, and you can simply add additional options here as you decide and define what needs to be real-time versus what can be batch. Now, when it comes to deciding the data flows, this is where you can self-serve yourself to create those data flows. So for example, this top section here is from NetSuite to SuiteProjects Pro. So users, clients, projects, services, vendors, all of these items, payments, all of these items can be set as optional flows from NetSuite. There are others that are not enabled here. Most of the data that is needed in SPP, if not all, can be sourced from NetSuite. In addition, we want to be able to push data back to NetSuite. Now you'll notice clients and projects are in both sections. Why is that? Well, we have some customers that connect their CRM to SuiteProjects Pro. What that means is clients and projects originate in SuiteProjects Pro. And then when they get to a certain point of closure, at that point, they get sent over to NetSuite. Also, you could do the opposite. You could have your clients and projects generated directly in NetSuite, either from an integration or a sales order, and then have those then flow to SuiteProjects Pro. So it really depends on where you want to be able to initially create those records. Expense reports, invoice, and revenue recognitions are the general transactions we see most common pushed. We can also send credits. You can also update projects. So if projects are updated in SPP, we can have those updates also correspond to any project record or project fields in NetSuite. This bottom one is a custom connector. And you can actually now create up to four custom connectors for both the import process as well as the export process. So for example, let's say you wanted employees to start in SPP. Well, there's not a standard connector for employees, but you could create a custom connector to be able to generate employees from SuiteProjects Pro and create employees in NetSuite. So again, adding new workflow here, you can go in and add those workflows. And then once you generate those workflows, now you go in and add the mappings. So being able to sync the different data elements, there's some advanced settings you can use. For example, if I wanted to set a job code from an element in SuiteProjects in NetSuite, so we've got our NetSuite fields and mappings, our SuiteProjects Pro mappings, and we can decide if those are initial only, or how we want to set those up. So easily go in and go through and set the mappings that you want set to flow from the system, from one system to the next. You don't need to be able to code. There's no overly complicated process here. There's also a status here. So if you do want to take a look at the syncs and see what was manual versus what was automated, if there were any errors, so you can drill down into the integration runs and be able to see where those integrations are or what they've done over the past. Now, this is great. This replaces any kind of custom API connectors. It gives you the ability to self-serve, to be able to send data back and forth, determine what that data is, make changes over time, and keep everything clean in both systems. But what if I live in NetSuite and I'm in finance and I want to be able to work inside of SuiteProjects Pro without ever leaving NetSuite? Well, there's that opportunity as well. So if I come in to NetSuite and we have the single sign-on enabled for SuiteProjects Pro, I can now come in here and access SuiteProjects Pro without ever leaving NetSuite. So for example, here, I'm going to the project module, I go to the invoicing module, I can come in here and I can navigate within NetSuite into SuiteProjects Pro seamlessly. So I don't have to leave my system. I can work and do everything I need to do within a single system. In addition, if I go and enable the ability to show SuiteProjects Pro data associated with certain records, for example, if I go to an invoice that was generated by SuiteProjects Pro, here I can actually now access the invoice and see the invoice data from the actual invoice in SPP. So if there were attachments here, I could access those. If there's information here I need, I can get to that. So this gives me not only ability to get into SPP, but it also associates the SPP records to the NetSuite records that they were created. This would align with clients, projects, employees. You can determine what you'd like to sync and set based on how you set this integration up, really giving finance everything they need to be able to work with the professional service organization and set everyone else for an efficient experience and a successful experience. Want to know more? Please visit TopStep's website. If you're interested in discussing more, we're happy to talk about how to maximize either your existing connector between these two products, or if you're considering adding one product or another, we'd be happy to talk to you about that as well. Also, please welcome to join us on LinkedIn and any other social media options.